in any way that we can. To get started here, we wanted to share with you, something that probably most of you all are certainly aware of, and that is how much the internet has changed us over the last couple of decades. It's the first place we go very often to find out information about a person, a product, something that we may want to buy. If we don't feel comfortable actually making the purchase online, we at least want to look up what other people think and say about our product or service. So, that points out how critical it is to have at least a presence online, because I feel like that gives you credibility, if nothing else. But if possible, having the opportunity for folks to make purchasing decisions, and ideally, if possible, make the actual purchase online, or at least initiate it online, is very helpful as well.
And I think even, at a minimum, being able to be found there. So, basic things like address, phone number, all of that can make a big difference, even if there's not a full-blown web presence. So there's many things that you can do to, show up in those search results, and at least, provide some information to customers.
Yes. So we just wanted to provide a little bit of credibility to that general idea. Pew Research says that 9 out of 10 Americans use the internet, and Bright Local cites that 86% of consumers rely on the internet to find a local business, or at least to find directions to that local business or get information about that local business. So it's very important to at least have some kind of credible presence. And definitely something really important to keep in mind in regards to a website that you would have up. I know some folks kind of feel like at the very least, I just need to have something up, even if it is not good. I need to have something up. But if you think about it more as being your digital storefront, or the storefront that you are going to share with the public on the internet, you need to keep the same things generally in mind that you would about a store or a physical presence that you would have. You want to make it inviting. You want to make it someplace where a customer would like to spend their time. You need to make sure that they feel welcome. You need to make sure that they're not going to get lost. And you need to make sure that that front door feels like the brand that you want to represent. So you need to make the kind of impression that you would want to make on a customer stepping inside your store. Do you have any other? Okay. So that being said, we always like to look at the website and the digital presence from a hub and spoke model. And the more spokes that you have on that wheel, the stronger it's going to be. So the center, or the hub of that presence, is obviously going to be the website. It's where you want to, again, have your front door, make sure that you're establishing credibility. All of the commerce may or may not take place on the website, but at the very least, it's where people can go to get validation that you're genuine, that you're real, that you are somebody that they can trust. And some of the spokes related to that digital relationship are going to be online video, your social media presence, any kind of email marketing that you do, the extension of search engine optimization and presence when people are doing Google searches, any kind of live chat experience, or any kind of outreach things that you would offer, especially if you're kind of like a service-oriented organization, or someone who has products that would require explanation. So things that help build justification for those services and products, such as webinars, training, or things that help make sure that you look like an authority in the area of product or services you provide. So, one of the things that we feel specifically at Fireside Digital very strongly about is storytelling. And that is really a big part of our brand. Obviously, the whole Fireside idea is bringing people around the fire to pass along tales or stories that help make your brand unique and special to your potential and existing customers. If we were going to set out to sell products or services, especially as small businesses, over the internet, and simply try to compete on price, convenience, and availability, we're probably going to lose, because none of us, at least I don't think any of us that are here on this call, have the billions of dollars that Amazon does to kind of compete in that arena. We need to find something that is unique about ourselves that we can connect with our potential customers, and that's going to be our story and the things that make us unique and that endear us to our customers, our neighbors, and the folks who are going to do business with us. So Shane and I feel really strongly about helping our customers tell their unique story, and in doing so, make them a special part of their customers or their partners' lives. So a common quote that we like to refer back to from Simon Sinek: people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. Definitely a reinforcement of the general idea of telling your story and making sure that the journey to kind of getting really loyal customers is moving them from folks who find you for one reason or another to being fans or super fans of your business, folks who actually want and choose to support you because they're having to decide on doing business with you over Amazon or somebody like that. And even though we all feel like we have something very unique to offer, we need to make sure that we pass along what that uniqueness is to our customers, and that the thing that really endears them to us is making sure that they understand that uniqueness.
Yeah, and we've pulled a snippet from Simon's TED Talk. It's from several years ago, so it seems really dated by looking at it, but the message is still really relevant. And he's going to cover his concept of start with why, which we think is really helpful when thinking about telling your own unique story online.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight? The Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we're better. And we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat screen TVs. They've been making flat screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the .com of the day. Everybody was trying it. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had what we assume to be the recipe for success. I mean, even now, you ask people, why did your product or why did your company fail? And people always give you the same permutation of the same three things. Undercapitalized, the wrong people, bad market conditions. It's always the same three things. So let's explore that. Samuel Pierpont Langley was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out this flying machine. Money was no problem. He held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Langley. And how come we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. They had none of what we consider to be the recipe for success. They had no money. They paid for their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person on the Wright brothers team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. The difference was Orville and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it'll change the course of the world. Samuel Pierpont Langley was different. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. He was in pursuit of the result. He was in pursuit of the riches. And lo and behold, look what happened. The people who believed in the Wright brothers' dream worked with them with blood and sweat and tears. The others just worked for the paycheck. And they tell stories of how every time the Wright brothers went out, they would have to take 5 sets of parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for supper. And eventually on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight.
Oh. Yeah. Bear with me for a second while I figure out how to navigate to the next slide. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
So I put together, a few local examples. So it's kind of nice, I think, to hear Simon's kind of high level overview of starting with the why. But then we wanted to show you some specific.
Shannon, I don't want to interrupt, but we have a harder time hearing you than Kevin.
Oh no, okay. Let me move closer.
Thanks.
Better now? A little better?
Yes.
Okay. So we wanted to just pull together a few local examples so we can show you specifically, in practice what that might look like. And so here, like on the top left, I have a screenshot from Stella's restaurant from their website, as well as a picture from their Instagram. So I think that they do a really good job, using their website and social media to really showcase Stella's story of her coming to America and why she likes to cook. And so if you follow them on social, obviously they post a lot of pictures of what's on their menu, but they take the opportunity to showcase their namesake and their matriarch and why she does what she does. And so I just think that's an inspiring local example. I've also included a testimonial from a local jewelry store. So this is kind of a different way of looking at it. Sometimes feedback from customers is an easy way and a great way to tell your story. So you're using other people's words to talk about what you do. And how it made them feel. So that's I know a lot of times, we collect feedback from customers, and it's nice to be able to showcase that on our websites and on social media. And then kind of similar to Stella's, but a little bit different in the upper right, I've included an example from a local clothing store that's owned by 2 sisters. So, of course, they use their site and social media to include pictures of new clothing lines and all of that, but they take the opportunity to include small details about their children and their family, which goes a long way, I think, in supporting the fact that they're a family-owned business and how they work together. So it kind of just goes back to that why that Simon was talking about. And then I also include a screenshot from an ice cream shop. So they, you can go on their website and see their full story. But they, basically go into, the history of their business and why they're doing it. And they have pictures of children eating ice cream, and they talk about how that makes people feel. So it's just really, I think, an inspiring message, and you kind of feel like you're there when you read their story online. Go to the next slide.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things that these all share in common is especially around the importance of storytelling and branding and really endearing your customers to you in kind of like the discretionary spending areas. Obviously, fashion, ice cream, and eating out are all, for the most part, nice to haves. They're not necessarily a requirement Walmart staples. They are things that people are choosing to spend some of their discretionary money on. So I think that space, even more than some of the, the core necessities, are ripe for, choosing to show how you make a difference, and why you do what you do when people have the option to spend money with someone or not.
Okay, and so we're gonna show you another video. This one's a lot shorter than the first one, but this is a video example of storytelling. And in this example, we think does two things really well. So it tells us a heartwarming story about a small business who happened to use Google to grow their business. But it's also a really good example of how the organization itself is using storytelling to showcase their product. Click it again.
People want to be part of something that's greater than themselves. Certainly, we're more than a business that just sells sandwiches. My name is Paul Saginaw, and I'm one of the co-founding partners of the Zingerman's community of businesses.
So in the Zingerman's community of business, there's the Zingerman's Deli, which started it all.
We recognized that we had a desire for growth.
And then there's the Zingerman's Bakehouse, Zingerman's Creamery, Zingerman's Coffee Company.
We have over 700 employees now across 9 businesses. We see ourselves as very local, and we wanted to drive our roots deep in the community.
When you have a plan and a vision to never leave your town, how do you become a national company? The way that happens is through the internet.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Zingerman's Mail Order.
The mail order business started just on a card table with one person who would answer a phone every now and again. And now that's grown into a $14 million business. I can't imagine a future where Zingerman's isn't a big part of Ann Arbor. And I can't imagine doing any kind of business and being successful without Google AdWords. It's something you have to do. It's like having a front door. And as Zingerman's mail order grows, so does Zingerman's Bakehouse, so does Zingerman's Creamery. Everyone else is coming along for the ride. Food is about sharing. It's not about coveting. It's not about keeping it to yourself. That's why tables are so big, right?
You're getting some of the best food you can possibly get.
It's kind of an icon. Oh, it's a landmark of Ann Arbor.
I like to think that we've created a workplace where you weren't just making sandwiches. There is a sense of community. Something extraordinary and wonderful can happen when you're trying to say, how much good can we do with this? Let's have some fun. Let's see what's possible.
Hopefully we'll be able to get to the next slide.
Yep. Let us tell you all about technology, including starting with PowerPoint. Okay, so is this me?
Yep.
Okay. So pivoting to e-commerce. So I know that some of you all probably already dabble a little bit in e-commerce, or maybe you all are, fully fledged e-commerce junkies in your business, and it's just part of the way that you operate your business, which is wonderful. But for those that are new or getting started, or kind of just dipping their toe in, we wanted to touch on a few of the things to keep in mind as you pivot to e-commerce. We definitely all talked about making sure you understand, what you're trying to do through your business and understanding your business goals. And those are crucial to figuring out what level of adaptation you're going to do in regards to e-commerce. And then, looking for a platform that really that fits the scale that you're thinking about, but also integrates with your existing potential systems and marketing channels in the way that you speak to your customers today. We want to make sure we keep all of that in mind. And then choosing what e-commerce platform is best for your industry and your specific types of products. I would have to say that most of Shannon and my experience is in serving nonprofits, cause-oriented organizations, and organizations that are trying to make a difference in the community and trying to help people. So a lot of the work that we do involves fundraising and advocacy and putting together specific technologies to help manage that, such as event calendars and fundraising systems and things around that. So it's understanding what commerce platform is going to be best for your specific needs and goals.
Kevin, can I throw in a question here? How about inventory and managing? What tricks have you seen for trying to mesh your inventory system with your website?
Yeah, well, I think there are multiple different ways that you can go about that. You know, and that is a big part of things, is figuring out which commerce platform is going to integrate with all of the specific facets of that. So both your inventory management system, but also what kind of payment processing are you using in your store? Are you already using something that's going to be very translatable to a commerce platform? As well as shipping and fulfillment. Are you going to do, you know, your own fulfillment? Are you going to do drop shipping? Are you doing print on demand? So all of those things need to be factored in. And, you know, it's really, from our experience, more of a case-by-case basis, depending on what you're doing. So I don't feel like we could say right off the bat, here's what we would recommend for that. It's really taking a look at all of the criteria and then kind of putting that into the mix.
Yeah, and all the systems that you already have in place. So you know, it would be nice to, you know, kind of do an audit of, you know, all of the pieces and parts that Kevin talked about. And then when you're looking to source, you know, an e-commerce platform, you know, seeing if that platform integrates with your existing systems.
Mm-hmm. And then also, you know, either looking for the systems that, if you're doing a selection process, looking at the systems that other companies that you feel like you're similar to, or maybe that you compete with, those help in the selection process as well. Because whenever we're doing a website redesign project, we often ask our clients to do a field trip exercise where they go out and they find examples of sites that fit multiple categories. Like, let's look at some websites of your competitors. Let's look at websites that do things in a particular way that you like or think fits your specific business really well. And then let's look at websites that you just find that they appeal to you for one reason or another. And let's document what you like about those, what you don't, and start from there. I mean, it's a great way to kind of jumpstart your process if you're just starting and have no idea where to go first. So, okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think there, you know, we were talking about a lot of high level things, but we include this slide really to say, like, e-commerce can look a lot of different ways. And so even, you know, on the very left there, RVA Antiques, you could call this e-commerce. I mean, they're selling a table on Instagram, and you call and you order, you say that you want to buy it. And so sometimes dipping your toe in like that is a little bit easier. I think Refunket does this as well. So it's just nice to see, you know, there's lots of ways to solve for it. And then we've included some other examples of, you know, full integrated e-commerce into a website that we're all kind of familiar with, the add to cart, that kind of thing. And then on the right with the shirts and pants there, I thought this was kind of interesting because they include photos of, you know, once a week. And that's really the extent of their e-commerce. So they don't have their full product inventory online. They are just, doing a handful, like showcasing a handful of products on a routine basis.
So the general idea is, if you're afraid to get started, then start small. And I'm not talking necessarily about start small by selecting this platform or another, but start small by doing something that you feel comfortable with and see how that works, and then let that take you to the next step if you're reluctant about jumping in too deep right off the bat. Because I'll tell you, to your question, Maggie, one of the things that you have to be careful about is you have to make sure that you're comfortable with the entire customer experience from beginning to end if you're going to go into this. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you set up a nice, beautiful website and you put all of your product inventory on there and you've got it all set up and you're ready to get people checking out and everything, and then lo and behold, what if the business goes faster than you think and you didn't think about shipping and fulfillment? That is going to be a problem, because that is going to be a step that's really important. And if all of a sudden you're getting, just as an example, 30 or 40 sales a day, do you have someone and a process for fulfilling 30 to 40 sales a day? You better be ready, because one of the most important things is the first impression you make with your customer in that purchase experience, and we want to make sure that's positive all the way through. And that starts with what you're marketing, the way that you sell it, how easy the checkout experience is, what that shipping and return experience looks like, and how fast they're receiving their product if you're going to be fulfilling. So from an online shopping experience and customer satisfaction perspective, we want to make sure that we think through, like I was saying, putting that customer experience at the center of everything. And if we can try to put ourselves in their shoes rather than ours, so it's not about, I want to sell this product, but I think there is a customer that is interested in this product, and what does the experience need to look like from their perspective to get this product in their hands, is a great way to look at it. And what's that going to feel like for that customer? As a brand or retailer, your success hinges on long-term customer loyalty, and that's just like what I was saying at the beginning. Creating that ideal experience, especially that first time, but also every time after that, is what is going to make them a loyal customer. Or if we want to get guru about it, make them a believer, because the believers are going to be less likely to go and try to find something similar to what you might sell on Amazon, as opposed to using you. And I'm not meaning to beat up on Amazon a whole bunch, but I mean, let's all be real. If we're selling a product, and increasingly, even if we're selling services, Amazon is the 800-pound gorilla in the room that we have to deal with, because it's just so darn convenient. And then personalized experiences yield greater sales opportunities. This capability helps shoppers find products that they may not otherwise have purchased. Upselling and the idea of cross-selling and that whole idea doesn't necessarily need to be looked at as a negative. I mean, it's something where we're probably enhancing the customer experience, making sure that if we sell them a widget, that they're walking out with the cable that they need to hook up that widget. So definitely an important fact there as well. And then some specific key elements of effective e-commerce. We want to make sure that the navigation is easy. And again, putting ourselves in our customers' shoes, we want to walk through possibilities and options. And we do that a lot with our clients, of making sure that we're going to craft the best navigational experience to help customers find what they're looking for quickly. And then good photography, and the fact is we can get some pretty good photography with the phones that we're usually holding in our hands, but a good photo is worth 1,000 words to show someone a special product or something that they may be interested in. So trying to do our best with, lighting things appropriately so that they look appealing and attractive to our customers is important. Customer reviews. I mean, that has become so important now in terms of the overall shopping experience. For the most part, we've all lost our, custom sales experience that we, were so endeared to in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and maybe into the 80s some. And so the public has been trained to kind of replace that, that hands-on customer sales experience to some extent with reviews, and they rely on reviews even if there's going to be a custom sales experience now. Like, I'm going to go into that car dealership knowing everything about this car top to bottom before that sales counselor even steps in front of me. And I'm going to know, what other people say about it. What does JD Power say? What does, Consumer Reports say? So it may seem sometimes like, oh my goodness, I think they're just filling my site with customer reviews because they don't know what else to put in there. But people really read them and trust them in terms of purchasing decisions. And then another point, making it easy for our customers to contact us. That goes without saying. There's nothing more sketchy looking than looking to buy something from someone or after you've purchased something from someone, and then you have to search the site top to bottom, left to right, to try to find some way to hopefully contact them. Make it easy. That is going to increase your trust factor by 10. Making sure that people see that there's going to be a phone number to call or an email to send a message to, or a chat bot to chat with if they need help with their purchase. Letting customers know if an item is out of stock. And one of the examples that I could point out that, Shane and I mostly specialize in working with WordPress and WooCommerce, and that system makes it very easy to automatically plug in your inventory and manage your inventory through the WooCommerce dashboard. So making sure that that's up to date and you have either ticklers for yourself set up to let you know when you're within 2 or 3 items of being out of stock with a particular item so that you can restock it, or choosing to let customers back order it and giving them a clear expectation of when they can expect it based on the back order situation. Just making sure that we don't surprise customers with I thought I was getting it in 4 days and actually it took 4 months. That is a bad customer experience, and that's probably a lost customer. And then make checking out simple. I mean, we all probably know this already from our own experiences. If the checkout seems sketchy and it's sending you all over the place to different sites to process that, our trust goes down each time a new window is popped open during that checkout experience, and we're more and more likely to bail on the checkout experience. The more it seems like there are opportunities for people to steal our information or have our information leaked someplace or whatever. So just making sure that it feels safe and secure. And then making shipping and returns easy. We kind of already covered that, just making sure that, at the end of the day, the customer communication is the most important in regards to things like shipping and returns. Let's set out realistic expectations, meet those expectations, and be friendly and courteous if we can't meet those expectations and need to accept a return. And then whenever possible, still putting some humanity in the transaction, even if it's all digital, and over deliver on customer service and satisfaction. I just feel like that will never go out of style. Trying to make people feel special. in this world, regardless of whether they're buying something, talking to you, or just initially looking for something, goes 1,000 miles in terms of creating loyal customers.